Welcome to the user app training for Folio. My name is Danielle Noble and I'm the assistant librarian in the evenings at Green Library. And I'll be doing the presentation of this training today. But I want to take this time now to thank Dan Cook, Chong Vang, and Nathan Mysick for creating these slides and doing a lot of the hard work and research behind this training, and also creating the documentation for this training. So thank you so much for your hard work and efforts. Okay, so I just want to start with just a quick reminder that none of us are experts in Folio yet, and that we just need to be patient with ourselves because we've had years to become experts in workflows. And we've had a very short time to learn Folio. So we're not going to be as good at Folio as we are at workflows yet, but we will get there. We just need to remember that we didn't become instant workflows experts. It took us some time. And that with time we will also gain those skills in Folio. Okay, so what are we going to learn today? I'm hoping by the end of this, you're going to know how to create and edit and delete user records. You're going to be able to add, remove, and use user blocks and fines and fees. That you're going to be able to set up a proxy or a sponsor. And you're going to know how to authorize borrowing from one user to another. Okay. So I want to just mention here before I begin showing you how to create a user record that many of you won't have the permissions that are required to create new user records. There's only a few among us that has the appropriate permissions in order to create new user records. So if you do think that you should have these permissions and you find that you don't, then please contact your department or whoever does Folio permissions in your particular work group. Okay, so if you do have the appropriate permissions, what you do is come to the Users app, select the Action button, and click Plus New. Okay. And this will bring up a new user record. So within this new user record, there's a few required fields. Last name is required, patron group is required. This is going to be like whether or not a patron is an undergrad or a graduate student or faculty or staff. That's going to fall under patron group. And then their status, whether they're active or inactive. And their email address is also required. And then their preferred method of contact. So in this case, they've selected email, but they can choose phone or other types of contact information. Okay, and just some other areas I want to highlight in here. So we would add the barcode up here. And if we need preferred names, there is an area for us to fill out our patrons' preferred names. So it's a phone or mobile phone, and affiliation or user group down here in the customer field. However, there is no department available for this. I know that some of you have asked about that, and we're interested in whether or not you could add the department into the user records. Right now, there is not a field for that in Folio. So when you're done creating the record, you just click Save and Close. And that will create your user record. Okay, so in order to delete a user, you're going to have to make sure that they don't have any open transactions, that there are no fines or fees or current books or open requests or unexpired proxies. Which makes sense because you wouldn't want to delete a user if they had materials out or if they owed us money through fines and things. So such is in this example of test Dan test, we wouldn't be able to delete this user until they paid their fines and until we expired the proxy that's on the account. Okay, and then we would be able to delete that. once that has been resolved. Okay, to create blocks and fines and fees, you just come up to the action button and then select create fine fees or create block, depending on which you needed. So if you're going to create a fine and fee, this is the pop-up that you would see when you selected new fine and fee. So first you'd come over to the fine and fee owner, and then you'd select from the drop-down menu which institution or library that you worked at. In this case, we're going to choose Seoul, because that's what we fall under. If you fall under Hoover, then you would select that, and so on and so forth. And then you come here to fine and fee type, and you click on it, and the drop-down menu will appear. And in this case, we're going to choose lost item. So from the drop-down menu, then you would select one of the choices. In this case, we're going to choose lost item. And then for a green library, it automatically fills a lost item fee at $75. For different libraries, it's going to enter in a different amount. Okay, and then we'll just scan the item barcode here and hit enter, and then charge only. Okay, so that's for creating finder fee. Now if you wanted to remove that finder fee, you would just go to the finder fees section of the user app, click on the finder fee in which you want to pay or remove, and you need to just make sure that you check the particular finder fee that you're trying to pay or waive, and then come up to the action button and press pay or waive, or select pay or waive. Okay, so in this case we're choosing waive, so you just come enter the amount here and then the reason for waiving this. In this case we chose exception. And then you would add any additional information that your staff may need in the box below, and then hit waive. Okay, if you wanted to pay the fee, then you would select pay, and then add the amount that you wanted to pay. The total is shown above, and then just put the amount. In this case, we're paying the whole $230. And then at Green Library, we only accept a payment method of my account. So we'd select my account and add any additional notes that our staff may need and hit pay. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and just do a short exercise with you to create a finder fee on your own account. So please follow along with me while I do this for you. Okay, so I'm just going to log in to Folio Test so I can show you how to do this. So I'm just going to bring up Folio Test over here and go to Apps and go to the User app. And then I'm going to look up our test patron here. So Test Danielle and search for our test patron. Okay. And click on our test patron. So now you're going to see our pop-up. This shows our authorization of pickup. In this case it says Chongbang is authorized to pick up materials for Test Danielle. And these are the pop-up notes. Then I'll show you a little bit more about that later, how we create those. Okay, and hit close for that. And then I'm going to come down to our user record here for Danielle Test, down to Fine and Fees, and click on it. So you see here, they have 1 open finder fee already and 6 closed finder fees. Now there's 2 ways you can create a finder fee. You can come here and select create finder fees, or you can come up to the action button and create a finder fee. So that's what I'm going to do now. And then I'm going to come to the finder fee owner. In this case, I'm just going to select Seoul And then I'm going to select damaged material as the reason for the fine. And I'm going to put a $1 fine on this account. And then I'm just going to scan a barcode. Okay, and press enter. Okay, and then I'm going to select charge only. And as you can see, under the fines and fees, there are now 2 open fines and fees. So if I click on this, you're going to see the 2 fines and fees that are on this account. So since this is a manual fee, we can delete it. So I'm going to show you now just how to quickly delete your fine and fee. So I'm going to select the fee I just created. I'm going to come over to action, and in this case, I'm going to go ahead and waive the fee. And the amount is already added, or you can change it if you need it. And I'm going to come over here and make the reason for this waiver error. And in this case, I'm just going to add my initials. This isn't a really necessary step since you already know who is logged in to and perform this action, but it might be a helpful practice to continue. That's up to you and your library how you want to proceed. And then I'm going to come down here to waive and confirm. And if you see the green bar at the bottom come across, that means that you have been successful in removing your fee. Okay, so as you probably noticed when we did this, there is no delete button here. We only have pay or waive. And like I showed you, you can choose error as a reason for waiving. So if you do create an error, you can't delete the fine, but you can waive it, and it has a similar type of effect. Okay, wonderful. So I hope you were all successful in trying that. And if you weren't or you had any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Dan Cook, Chong Bang, or Nathan Lysick. We'd be very happy to help you. Okay, so when it comes to creating a block, one of the ways in which you can create a block is by selecting create block from the action menu. And then you would need to choose a template name. In this case, we've chosen bad physical address / email. And then we put in a description just stating that this patron needs to provide the library with a working email. And then if there were any notes for staff that needed to be added, you could put those here, and you could create a message to the patron there. And then you could create an expiration date for the block if you wanted, and then select the actions that you wanted to block the user from doing. And then you just hit save and close at the top, and you have created a block. All right. As I mentioned with the fines and fees, if the block is created manually, then we can delete it. However, if it's an automatic block, it can't be deleted or edited by staff. So in this particular example, we have one that was created manually, so we'll be able to remove or edit it. Okay, so you just select that particular block, the manual block that you want to remove or edit. And then you can come in here and delete it or make any changes to the information that you might need. Okay. Now to creating a sponsor or proxy. So if you click on Actions and select Edit, you'll be able to add or create a link for either a sponsor or a proxy. So if you see here under the proxy heading or sponsor heading, you have two places in which you could add either a sponsor, which is someone who can borrow on behalf of you, or a proxy, someone who you borrow on the behalf of. And you just click these add buttons for whichever one you're adding. And then what's going to happen is you're going to search by last name or their unit, and then click search, and then click on that user you want to add, as demonstrated here by our example. Okay, and then you just need to add relationship status and expiration date. So if you only want the sponsor proxy to have a very temporary, let's say day, access to borrowing materials on your behalf, then you would create a expiration date of the following day. And then you would want to know whether or not a proxy can make requests for the sponsor, and whether we want to send notifications to the proxy or to the sponsor. Okay, so those are the various fields that we are filling out. This is shown here in the image below. Okay, now to authorize borrowing from one user to another, you'd come to the user app, expand the note fields, and click on New. And then you can add note type user circ, and then add the title, add authorization note, and then you just give specific detail on who's authorized and what actions are authorized to perform. And then, as I showed you before, pop-up note will display. Okay. All right, wonderful. I'm just going to quickly show you again that pop-up note. So this is what the pop-up note looks like in the Users app. And again, that notes field is all the way down here at the bottom of that user. You just click on it, and there is the note. Or if you wanted to add a new one, just select New. Select the type of note, in this case, user note. Note type, authorize borrow, or something of that effect, and then the details of the action that that particular person is authorized to do. And then you can have it display as a pop-up in the checkout app, or the Users app, or both if you select here. Okay, and that is how you create the note and the pop-up note. In this case, I'm going to close without saving because we already have several notes here. Okay, and then the proxy or sponsor relationship is visible here. So in this case, Chong Test is a proxy for Danielle Test. And if you want to see where you would add that, you just come up here to Actions, hit Edit, and then scroll down to where it says Proxy and Sponsors, and click on that. And then you could add a sponsor or a proxy here by clicking these, and then searching for your user. Clicking on that user, and then you can create a expiration date for that user. And whether or not that user can request for the sponsor, and again, whether you want the notification sent to the sponsor or proxy. Okay, and then you can add that particular proxy to this account. Okay. In this case, we're not going to save it because we already have a proxy visible on this account down here and a sponsor. Okay. So that's just a quick introduction on how to do that. And I just want to thank you for watching this training. And please, if you have any questions, you can go to the Folio Support Slack channel. You can use the Folio Support email.